CNBC TV 18, celebrating 21 years of business leadership.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. You're watching MF Corner. I'm Sumaira Apti. On the show today, we have two experts joining in to answer the queries which have been sent by our viewers on various formats. So we have Lavai Navlakhi of International Money Matters and Shweta Rajani of Anand Rathi Private Wealth Management, who will be answering the many queries sent in to us. Good afternoon to both of you. Thanks very much for joining in. But before I actually pose a question to my guest, there's some data that came through, and it's important for investors to know this as well, that, in the month of November, we have seen very sharp redemptions in the equity mutual fund. So if you look at the headline number, that has, come in at about 13,000 odd crores and compares with just about 3,000 crores of outflows last month. I mean, we thought 3,000 crores was a lot last month, till we saw 13,000 crores. And, that's not all. It's not any one category of equity mutual funds which is feeling the pain. It's across the board. So large, mid, multi-cap funds, small cap fund. In fact, I would think that small cap funds alone, people are taking money off after having made some money. Other than that, I feel it's, probably it could be underperformance of active funds. Some of it could be profit booking as well. People are saying that perhaps HNIs are taking money off the table. So a combination of factors has led to this sharp redemption, something that could continue for a few weeks ahead. And, it's not just the headline equity. We're seeing outflows from hybrid funds as well. Debt has seen on an overall level a positive number, as have ETFs and fund of funds combined. But if you look at the liquid funds, it's just a very minor outflow. But, this is a category that is subject to month-end, quarter-end vagaries. So a lot of discrepancy comes over here, every month. So this time around, just a minor number. Credit risk funds, which have been seeing consistent outflows for over a year. Here, it looks like the trend could be ebbing, so just very minor outflows over here. And in terms of the overall assets under management, that has swelled to about 30 lakh crores. So if you're wondering, how this number keeps going up when there are redemptions which continue to pile up, well, it's because the markets are rallying and therefore NAVs are rising, and that is why the overall assets is growing. The the SIP number as well this month has come off, and quite significantly so. Okay, so this is for our viewers to note, but now let's get down to answering some queries. And the first query, in fact, is the most pertinent one that we have, because, a lot of the investors in the schemes of Franklin Templeton want to know how to vote, because between the 26th and 28th of December is when we'll have the voting by Franklin Templeton. So Reema Kapoor has written to us from New Delhi, and she wants to know exactly that. How should investors vote on the 26th to 28th vote? So, I'll toss it over to both my experts. Shweta, first to you. This is the winding up vote, right? Which means, should the schemes proceed with winding up or not? What would you recommend that investors do?
Yes, Sumaira. So investors, yes, have received the notice, and between 26th and 28th, they have to vote. Now, if they vote in favor of winding up, what happens is it will take another 1 month where there'll be a voting to agree on the process. And after a month, there is roughly 7,300 crores out of the 26,000 crores put together available as cash. So the money would be shared with the investors. And what will happen is the AMC will start liquidating the residual assets. This monetization would happen at a fair value because there's no rush to liquidate them. So if the investor agrees to the winding up, the money may be a little delayed, but what he will receive will be a fair value. On the other hand, if he votes against winding up, what happens is within the next 2-3 days after the voting exercise, the scheme will be opened up for redemptions, and there'll be a huge rush of redemption. As per regulation, the AMC can maximum delay paying out the redemption proceeds for 10 days, which means in the next 10 days, they will have to do a distressed sale of assets. So if you vote against it, while you may get your money soon, but you may get it at a distressed value or significant losses to your investment. So ideally, it's better off if you vote in favor of winding up so that you receive a fair value over the next few months.
Okay, this is what I would think too. Okay, Priya Sen has written from Kolkata with a very interesting query, something that a lot of us want to know. She says there have been a spate of NFOs recently, new fund offers. So is it better to apply in the NFO or go for an established fund? Shweta, this is the age-old question because a lot of investors feel that NFO sasta hai, it's cheaper than what you're getting in an established fund. But, there has really been a lot of NFOs in the, months of the lockdown. What would you recommend? Are some NFOs better, or is it each NFO that, needs to be qualified?
Right, Sumaira. So there have been NFOs in the market, but what NFO is basically the first offer where units are available at 10 rupees. In an open-ended fund, the option of investing in the fund is there even after the NFO period. So our view is you should avoid investing in an NFO and wait for the portfolio to get constructed and the investment style to be established. Once this is in place, then you are in a position to do fair analysis of the fund, compare it to its peers on various parameters of return, volatility, the agility of the fund manager to change the portfolio as per market dynamics, his stock picking capability. Then you would be in a position to take a more informed decision to invest in the fund. So an open-ended fund should be avoided. Go in for an established fund.
Okay, well, go in for an established fund mostly always, but we see NFOs gathering a lot of money because perhaps just a marketing blitz. Okay, so Major General Brajesh Kumar, sir, I hope you were listening in to that advice. Shweta, the next one comes up your way. Misabuddin Khan has written to us from Kolkata. He says he had invested in the Lakshmi Vilas Bank's Tier 2 bonds, which were written down. So what is the fate of his investments? And is this really that Yes Bank 81 story all over again?
Yes, Sumaira. So these bonds were issued under the Tier 2 capital of Basel III norms. And as per the Section 45 of banking regulation, along with the Basel III Master Circular of 2015, it says that whenever an authority is reconstructing a bank, or if the bank that's issued the bond merges with another bank, then the bank which has issued the bank has reached a point of non-viability. And it is a trigger for writing down the Tier 2 Basel III bonds. So that's what RBI has basically instructed Lakshmi Vilas to do. Once it announced the amalgamation of Lakshmi Vilas with DVS, it's instructed Lakshmi Vilas to write down these bonds. It is very similar to the Yes Bank bond issue of 81 bonds that they had issued. What the investors have done is a certain set of investors have put in an application in the Madras High Court. It's yet to be heard. But if we look back of what happened in March, investors had applied in Madras High Court as well as Bombay High Court, while Madras High Court upheld RBI decision in case of Yes Bank. The court case in Bombay High Court is still, underway. At this point of time, I would say it's a low probability that investor could get his money back from these bonds. But because the court case is still on, there is, we would have to wait and watch.
Okay, well, it's just sad. It's just sad that, there's a lot of mis-selling of products like this, and especially, sold not to savvy investors, but to retail investors who often end up getting there. Okay, Akash Segal wants to know what will be the impact of the recent RBI policy decision on investors of debt funds. Shweta?
Yeah. So RBI in its latest monetary policy kept the repo rates unchanged, and they have continued to maintain their accommodative stance. Moreover, they've also stated that for this year and the next financial year, to a certain extent, they would continue to manage this stance because they're looking at durable improvement in growth. So the focus clearly is on growth right now. Also, if you read the comments from RBI, they are very much comfortable with the surplus liquidity in the system. And they will continue with TLTRO's operation twist to ensure that the effects of surplus liquidity continue across the yield curve. What this means for a debt fund investor is that in the medium and the longer end of the curve, there is a scope of further reduction in the yields. So if you are a debt investor who holds a medium duration in your portfolio, then you could stand to benefit to a certain extent from capital appreciation that comes in due to the correction in the yields, apart from the yield accrual that you would get on your funds.
Okay, Lavai, Shweta, thanks very much for joining in and for advising our viewers on such a myriad of topics. But really, we've benefited this afternoon from both of you. Thanks very much. A quick break, or rather, we'll wrap up on MF Corner. Do stay tuned. The news continues on CNBC TV 18.